Alright, so Vince McMahon was very notorious for his wild booking and questionable things that he did on TV.
Yeah, what's good in the hood?
Just holding it down, trying to take care of business.
Keep it up, I'm a nigga.
It's been just over 3 years since Vinnie Mac has stepped down as the head of WWE in response to the Janelle Grant lawsuit. I really don't have much to say about it that hasn't already been said. I wasn't shocked when I heard about it, and I don't think many wrestling fans were either.
I am no pervert.
If he was doing shit like this on TV, then what happens behind closed doors could be anyone's guess. But today I'll be talking about the TV character known as Vince McMahon and this specific run he had in 2007. A little bit of context before this run: WWE purchased ECW in 2003 and will go on to host a reunion show, One Night Stand, 2 years later. This show went on to do very well. So well, in fact, that WWE decided to relaunch it full-time as a third brand alongside Raw and SmackDown. ECW going forward would have weekly shows, and it's on these shows where this run takes place. Now, you're probably wondering why he's wearing a do-rag in the first place. Well, that's because he's bald. Vince would shave his head after losing a hair versus hair match to Donald Trump. When his representative Umaga failed to beat Bobby Lashley. Now Bobby is the ECW champ at this time, and as you'd imagine, he doesn't make very good friends with Vince after this, and for the rest of this video would become the antagonist to our hero Durag Vince McMahon. Vince in the following weeks after this would come out with various different hats, and on one episode happened to be the debut of Santino Marella.
Look at me, I'm a Baptista.
Marella was picked out of the Mulan crowd as he defeated Umaga for the IC title. This has nothing to do with the story, I just added it as a fun fact. But after trying various hats, Vince would finally don the luscious do-rag at Backlash 2007. On this night, Vince, Shane, and Umaga would take on Bobby Lashley in a 3-on-1 handicap match. With the ECW title on the line, Vince would score the pinfall after a top rope splash from Umaga, resulting in quite the metaphorical middle finger to any ECW fan watching right now. Imagine you really love a wrestling company, right? And the rival buys them out. And not just buying them out, he proceeds to book himself to win the title and parade himself around like a fucking dumbass. Would you still have faith in that company after that? I don't think you would. Alright, now we can finally start with the ridiculous segments that made this run so legendary. But no, seriously, this shit's gonna get really stupid real fucking fast, so buckle up, starting with the very first Raw after Backlash.
What's up, Holmes? Peace out.
Sorry, Sir Bobby Lashley.
What? Sir.
Moving on to the next episode of ECW, Vince McMahon makes his way to the ring, walking like... I actually don't know why he's walking like that. He's always had quite the walk, but this is a bit different.
Is that? Oh shit!
He's out here to call out the ECW originals who voiced their opinions about his victory following Backlash. Before he gets to that, he first wants to address the crowd. He wanted to warn the crowd that right now would be the first time that he exposes himself in front of a live audience.
Even though there's mixed company here, even though there's a lot of children in this audience, first time in my life, I'm going to expose myself. So, excuse me while I whip this out. Get out!
The crowd isn't into anything Vince has to say, as you'd expect, getting mostly boos and "you suck" chants. But Vince finally switches the promo back over to the ECW OGs. Just after Vince won at Backlash, they all each cut a promo, all of them pretty much making the same point. The originals make their way to the ring after McMahon called them out to say those things to his face. Vince walks up to each of them one by one. He first starts with RVD, where he says he killed ECW and that Vince with the title is a mockery, which honestly he's 100% correct about. He then goes to Sabu, who says nothing and just stands there.
He's just standing there. menacingly.
Next is Sandman, and Vince starts off by asking,
What's that smell?
Sandman in response puts up 3 fingers, tells Vince to read in between the lines, and proceeds to turn around for the rest of this segment.
Read between the lines.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Lastly, he makes his way to Tommy Dreamer. Vince first draws attention to his footwear and gives him quite the compliment.
That is fly, baby. That's fly right there.
Dreamer lets Vince know that it wasn't him that brought back ECW, it was the fans that brought back ECW. And even though Vince signs his checks, it's the fans that pay his salary. After this, McMahon would say talk is cheap and offered a match to the OGs. Since all of them were eager to put their hands on Vince, he booked them all in a fatal 4-way Extreme Rules match. RVD would win this match and earn himself a title shot the next week, but as you'll see with every single title defense going forward, Vince will not be alone and will have the help of Umaga and Shane. So we're jumping straight to this match, and as you'll see, Vince will be on the apron the entire time.
Look at Shane! Oh! Shane McMahon. Oh, they're way up there. And over! Sure did!
As Umaga does all the dirty work for him and tags in Vince at the last second to make the pin, effectively defending his title against RVD.
And could that be the fatal finish? Incoming ECW original.
McMahon's next defense would be against Bobby Lashley after he demanded a title match from him on a previous episode of Raw, so a match at Judgment Day was made official. Alright, we're on to the next episode of Raw. Vince McMahon shows up with the lilac duty.
What's up, baby? Skip. Nice touch, huh? Sweet? Yeah. I'm down.
On the same night, Bobby Lashley would take on Jonathan Coachman, which he made quick work out of.
Back to his feet and
At the end of the match, he is attacked by Vince and his crew. Bobby eventually gets the upper hand and chases Vince out the ring before he is blindsided by Shane McMahon. Bobby is now chasing after Shane but doesn't catch up to him in time as he gets into a limo waiting for him, just before getting blasted again, this time by Vince with the title, effectively putting the big man down as Vince McMahon ends the night on top. On the final ECW before Judgment Day, Vince would make an appearance via satellite, looking fly as fuck I may add.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vince McMahon, the ECW World Heavyweight Champion. Bobby Lashley, you see. Bobby Lashley is the reason why I have anything on my head at all. I will never forgive or forget what Bobby Lashley did at WrestleMania. My head was shaved. You think I like wearing these things, huh? Bobby, you like that, huh? You like seeing me in this?
Alright, it is now the night of Judgment Day, and Vince loses his do-rag in the middle of this match, effectively dropping his overall from 99 back to 60. All the aura is gone, and consequently, Vince and friends would lose this match after Lashley gets the pin on Shane. The reign is over, and without the do-rag, Vince is powerless. But just before Bobby can celebrate, Vince pulls out one last trick and has Umaga attack him after the match. Vince gets on the mic and declares that he is still the champ since Bobby never pinned him.
I'm shocked! Unfair doesn't even do this justice! That's just crazy!
Since he's the owner of the company, he can override this decision, and now Vince is still your champion to the fans' displeasure. The next Raw, Vince is out on stage with his son Shane.
Product of my semen, it's my son Shane.
Now obviously Bobby wants to settle this once and for all with a one-on-one match with Vince with no help in his corner, and as you'd expect, Vince says no. Vince no longer has the do-rag, and he understands that without it, he couldn't possibly beat Bobby Lashley.
You're a pussy.
Shane, however, would grab the mic from Vince and would go on to say that his dad isn't scared of shit and would have no problem facing Bobby one-on-one for the title.
Any of you bitch ass niggas that got a problem with me, come kill my uncle about it, pussy.
Vince succumbs to the peer pressure and accepts Bobby's challenge under the condition that Bobby wins 3 matches that night, which he manages to pull off. So it's now set, Vince McMahon versus Bobby Lashley for the title at One Night Stand 07. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the final match of this run. One Night Stand 2007. Vince and Bobby will face each other in a street fight. Trio dominate this match early on, hitting Bobby with absolutely everything they can before rolling him back into the ring where Umaga hits him with a Samoan drop. Vince goes for the cover, but Bobby kicks out. Next, they set up Bobby so Vince can hit him with this very shitty looking spear after attempting yet another pin, but as you'll see, Bobby once again kicks out. Getting frustrated, Vince strangles Lashley as they continue the assault, but Lashley happens to pull Vince into a splash and throw Shane and Umaga out the ring, finally gaining an upper hand. Lashley finally gets Vince alone and proceeds to beat the absolute shit out of him with the steel chair, and then finally hits him with a running power slam. Bobby gets the cover, but just before he can get the 3 count, he is pulled out by Umaga, which proceeds to beat him up some more and then puts him onto the announce table. Now as Lashley lays there helpless, here comes Shane McMahon flying through the air as he crashes through the table and Lashley. After taking such a massive hit, Lashley is rolled back into the ring where Vince can make the final cover. 1, 2, but Lashley kicks out one last time. In one final attempt to stop Lashley, Shane McMahon attempts a coast to coast, but Bobby moves out of the way, taking out Umaga in the process. Bobby now spears Shane and is left alone once again with Vince McMahon, where he then spears him and finally puts an end to this match. So how bad was Durag Vince?
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
It wasn't very good. Was it funny? Yes.
Is it funny? Yeah, very.
It was obviously very funny looking back in hindsight, but actually watching this shit week to week really started to take its toll. The matches weren't very good. As you see, I didn't really cover all of them. Most people thought ECW was already dead by this point, but this pretty much solidified it for a lot of fans. A lot of people stopped watching after this, actually, and I don't blame them. No non-wrestler should be holding a championship at all whatsoever, and this is no exception. But yeah, that's all I gotta talk about today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, I'm out of here.